We are now just 149 days away from the official release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker by writer and director J.J. Abrams, Chris Terrio, as well as creator George Lucas. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the great thing about Episode 9 is that we do know that this film really is going to tap into the mythology on a different scale than we have ever seen before in the Star Wars franchise, and of course within the Skywalker saga, that J.J. Abrams really is going to lay down a foundation here to really create something new that's going to open up the possibilities of future Star Wars material and content, whether it be movies, live-action TV series, books, novels, comics, games, the list goes on and on. So that's the great thing about The Rise of Skywalker, is that not only is it a film to end this sequel trilogy, but it's also being used as a foundation for new Star Wars lore. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for Episode 9. Now, specifically, what's really intriguing about all of this is that a description of all 9 dark acolytes circled around a large stone structure that is said to be part of an ancient ritual that is being performed in the form of a flashback sequence many years before the events of The Force Awakens. It's described that one of the acolytes is kneeling down to a large Vader and Anakin statue, where the rest of the dark acolytes eventually kneel down as well. Additionally, it's described that as they perform this ancient ritual, they are chanting the ancient Sith code repeatedly, where they are holding relics that once belonged to both Vader and Anakin. Now, additionally, it's said that an alternate version of Anakin's Force Ghost emerges from thin air near the Anakin statue, whereas to the right of Vader's Sith spirit is seen to emerge from the ground, where the scene is dubbed as the Resurrection of Anakin and Vader. It's described that eventually the apparitions of Anakin and Vader begin to shape into a more solid form, where they appear to be lifelike, however degraded and weathered at the same time. It's said that one of the sequences involves the Dark Acolytes chanting more ancient code that causes both the Anakin and Vader figure to combine into one, which is said what creates the hybrid Force Ghost of Anakin Skywalker that is oriented with the dark side of the Force. So let's go over a couple of parts about this, because this most certainly taps into an original idea that JJ had for The Force Awakens that never made it to the final cut of the film. I don't know if you guys knew this, but in the early drafts of Episode 7 by JJ, there were ideas in place in order to resurrect Anakin/Vader in a very unique way than fans have ever seen before on the big screen, that had to do with these dark side worshippers, which are now called the Dark Acolytes in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. So these Dark Acolytes are said to be very much embraced with, of course, the dark side of the Force. They know everything about Vader, Palpatine, Anakin's turn to the dark side. They know everything there is about Luke, everything related to the ancient Sith, and of course the Jedi. They know everything. They are basically worshippers of everything related to the Jedi, Sith, the Force, and more. And what's really exciting about this is that this is really tapping into the spiritual realm, where they are literally rising both Anakin and Vader from the dead for a split second before those two figures combine into one being. So in this particular moment, it's actually dubbed as the Resurrection of Anakin and Vader, where there are statues of Vader and Anakin side by side, as all 9 Dark Acolytes are circled around this ritual that's being performed, where they are chanting the ancient Sith code, as well as other ancient Sith passages that are being used in order to make this successful. Now, this is actually said to be a trial run before they do this for Darth Sidious, where he's able to enter into the mortal world of course, itself. Now, what's really exciting about Episode 9 here is that this particular moment is really changing how we view certain pieces of Star Wars lore, as well as other pieces of the canon material that falls under Disney and Lucasfilm. This is also expanding of what we already got a glimpse of at the very end of 2018, just last year, where Darth Vader entered the spiritual realm. Very interesting. I mean, it looked like hell if you guys go ahead and look at the comics. Very interesting design to the spiritual realm, quite scary if I must add. And the fact that the Dark Acolytes are connected connected to all of this and will be explained in episode 9 in the form of a flashback within the first act of this movie. It really tells us a small backstory of the Dark Acolytes and, of course, the Knights of Ren being rivals to the Dark Acolytes. We do know that the Knights of Ren steal a lot of the actual belongings and personal items of the Dark Acolytes, and that's why it was very important for the Knights of Ren to get back from their mission from the Beyond and report back to Kylo Ren. So, with that being said, that all falls directly in line with one of the Dark Acolytes, most likely having some form of rivalry with, of course, the First Order and Kylo Ren, etc., once the Sith spirit of Palpatine takes over his body, which is said to be Matt Smith himself. So, the last thing I want to touch on here is that not only does this seem very dark and sinister, but this is a great way to really reshape the character of Anakin into a certain piece that we have never seen before in the Star Wars franchise. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.